So hello, it's the first time I'm doing this podcast or something, and I have those two dear people here. We met in Mysore, South India, studying with Patabi Joyce. We said 99?
97.
97. We met, and what was clear that Aharon and Maria Teresa, they came to study from Patabi Joyce, but they come to study more about breath than asana, I would say. But we all started with asana, and we had a teacher together, Venkatesh. We studied some pranayama. I was just beginner, so I'm just interested in asana, but they came to do something more mature, I would say, which is the breath. So I'm just going to start a little bit with talking about the history of a little bit about, I start with Aharon. If you can tell a little bit how or what drawn you to freediving and how it started and when maybe.
Scuba from 1952, where I had my first lessons in Madeira. Then I became a scuba instructor in aquasport, and for a long time. And then one day, Pipin Ferreras and Umberto Pedizzari, the two big stars of the world who were the world champions in multiple disciplines of freediving, walked into the club. So I attached myself to them like a tick and tried to milk them for every bit of information I could possibly get. At the end of it, they said to me, are you only interested hypothetically, or would you like to come into the water? So I said, I'd love to come into the water. So I went into the water, and it took off from there. We had a visit down to the Sinai. They were preparing for a movie that was going to be a spaghetti version of The Big Blue.
It's about this Jacques Mayol and
it's about
Enzo
Enzo
Melinelli.
Mallorca and Jacques Mayol. The person who was left out of it was, of course, Bob Croft, who neither of them could beat until Mayol invented the lift bag for bringing you up. That, I think, was Luc Bresson, who was the producer of the film.
Yeah, and director.
He had a case of mild racism when it came to Americans.
If I remember right, one of them was doing pranayama.
Mayol.
Mayol was interested in pranayama.
Mayol had been in search of yoga and pranayama in many places, mainly in Japan. For him, is not the
Indian way, yeah,
more the Japanese. But he made a big thing of it. But he really introduced it.
Introduced it to the world of freediving.
Yeah.
The pranayama bits of it.
It seemed to suit very well, particularly mentally. In his book, Mayol says that he was taught by a Filipino fisherman. He said, look, there are two ways of getting into the water. One, you dropped a stone into the water, and it behaved like a stone in water. And he said, the other way is like this. And he poured some oil into the water. He said, that's the way you want to be if you want to be a free diver. He did sort of bridge the gap between yoga and freediving.
And for you, it came when I met you in Mysore, you were in stage of your life that you were interested also in the pranayama bits of it, or asana bits of it, or?
I was more interested in pranayama.
In pranayama.
Yeah, I'd been several times to Patabi before that, and had worked my way through first series. I was as stiff as a board.
Men are stiff as boards. That's why how it works for men. I think that's the way today in yoga world we have 80% women. I think for men it's much more difficult than women.
Exactly.
Because we are not flexible. We're just strong and stupid. So it's interesting to see that maybe men should do yoga and women should do something else. I don't understand.
But later on you began to realize that there was an incredible parallel between yoga and freediving. Everybody sort of looks on, you should be doing your yoga before you get in the water.
Interesting.
And people actually studied yoga.
Yeah.
Some of them even went to the point of learning Sanskrit.
Yeah.
They learned the scriptures, they learned everything about it. and the pranayama where they could. If they could find a good teacher, you and I both found a good teacher in Venkatesh.
Yeah, we did.
And but let's think for a second. Yama and niyama, really that's sort of morality and ethics to a certain extent. It's also doing away with yoga. Sorry, away with the ego. And this is the first thing that you have to do in freediving. Lose the ego. Unfortunately, today, the reverse has happened.
So,
and it's
ego is leading.
Triumph of ego, yeah. We're trying to change that. But if you think about what happens in the water, the first thing that you have to worry about is yama niyama, getting rid of ego. The next thing that happens is what? Sensory deprivation and body position. I mean, you can't move in the water unless you align yourself with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you learn something about hydrodynamicism, you learn something about movement in water, swimming and everything else. If you like it, that's asana. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next stage is what? Pranayama? Pranayama is how you breathe before you get in.
Mm-hmm.
Which is important and governs a lot of what happens later.
And you said mentally, how it prepares you mentally to dive.
The breathing?
Yes.
The basic idea is not strictly according to a system. It's more a question of discovering what your body wants. Yeah, what your body needs. All the stuff about hyperventilation, all the bullshit that's been talked about, Wim Hof and all the rest of it today. No.
Not for freediving.
Not for freediving.
And what I'm interested, I think, in many people, it's eventually, I believe, at least in yoga, some teacher told me once, you're not doing yoga till you do kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is the breath retention. So he said, it's not yoga if you don't do breath retention. So breath retention, it's the start of hatha yoga or the yoga. It's a question, there's no answer to it. I just want to hear what you think about it. The breath retention is the most interesting part, I would say, in the psyche, or the connection between the psyche and the breath retention. So also in your personal life, what is the breath retention gives? Or
what it gives, in short, the breath of life.
The breath of life, but stopping your breath.
Stopping your breath produces the breath of life.
Interesting.
Because you become conscious of what's happening here.
I see.
Yeah.
So it brings you more awareness, we can say? You become more aware when you stop breathing?
You become more aware of what your body requires and more aware of your own rhythms and of everything else. Look, here's the thing. We studied a lot, we did an awful lot of work in Baja California with whales, yeah? Mm-hmm. Things like Peary's beaked whale are a moderate-sized beast, and it dives for up to 2 to 3 kilometers for 3 hours and 40 minutes a dive. Where's it carrying all that oxygen? Now, when it dives on an exhale.
It dives on an exhale?
Yeah. This is why I call kumbhaka the breath of life. Now, what's happening here? Where's the oxygen coming from? It's coming from a balance between hemoglobin and myoglobin in the blood. We have a proportion of roughly, I'm just throwing numbers here for fun.
Yeah.
90% hemoglobin, just illustrative, and about 10% myoglobin. Myoglobin is a form of the blood that allows you to use your muscles, all the skeletal muscles of the body, as a muscle bank. Mm-hmm. As you get more and more hypoxic, the brain withdraws oxygen from the muscles.
In a way that we are now in the place of panicking. The body's panicking, we can say, or there is a lack of something.
Yeah.
And the nervous system will shut down, and just try to explain to myself and for people who listen, it starts shutting off whatever I don't need, or
Okay.
we can say that.
So this was illustrated to me by a scientist called Erika Shagatai some years ago that we met in a conference here in Eilat. She said, "What are you thinking about, Aharon? You're usually thinking about something interesting." This is after we sat down and had a few beers together. And I said, "I'm interested in the hemoglobin-myoglobin ratio, because if we could change it by only a few points..."
We can dive. We can
would
dive.
have
We can dive for
unlimited-
3 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah, we would, well, not 3 kilometers, but we would
Yeah.
certainly be able to go down to depths that are unimaginable today. And she said, "That's interesting. If I find something, I'll let you know." 6 months later, I get a single word message from her, Eureka. For those of you who've had the misfortune not to have studied ancient Greek, it means I found it. So I said, "Come on, woman, give out. Where are you?" She said, "I'm at the base camp in Everest, and I'm doing research on people who are trying to acclimatize from 21% oxygen at sea level to 7% oxygen at the top of Everest."
Yeah.
Hypoxia.
Yeah.
So that's what we're interested in, yeah? I said, "What do you find?" She said, "Well, I did blood samples on them and biopsies in the muscles. And Aharon, it moves. The ratio between hemoglobin and myoglobin. In 6 short weeks, it moves. Everybody else had told me, 'Aharon, it's impossible.' All the physiologists of the world said to me, 'Aharon, it's written in your DNA, you can't change it.' So this was a huge revolution for us.
And in a way, we were talking before that, we were talking about to be adapted to situations.
Yeah.
So the body will change its adaptation according to the environment and whatever you bring into the table, or you bring to the body. So there is a way that there will be a change if I put it in the right environment.
Yeah.
That will be something that I will also connect with yoga, because the yogis will eventually, they say they have siddhas, they have powers, and the powers are happening because of the training, and the training is changing the environment, so the body will change, and then you have abilities that are not human, we can say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you describing something that's in a way it's not human, we can say.
But this is all our inheritance, you see, in the dive reflexes that we're born with. We're awakening them.
So can
by
I...
a certain type of
Please, yeah.
So one of the...
Maria Teresa, I want to just introduce you.
I may quote it wrong, and you please correct me, because I'm not great on Sanskrit, and it's a long time since I remembered this one, but one of the quotes that really stood out for me is something like, "Yoga chitta vritti nirodha." Yeah. Chitta vritti nirodha. It's this, and you asked, what is the silence? What is the space between, or what is breath hold? It's space for silence, for contemplation, for deep listening. And part of our research is adaptation cannot be forced. It comes with flow, and it comes with deep relaxation. And in that space, even if you're falling through the water column, and let's say I'm moving, in my case right now, it may sound crazy, but I'm falling between, let's say, 65, 70 meters. And it's in that space are you still in flow, or is something arising that might inhibit that flow of the natural process in the body to happen? And that flow is interrupted by ego and force and fear.
Ego means eventually thinking.
Yes.
In that sense. So when you dive to that depth, you want to be empty.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yes.
Yeah, because thinking will take oxygen. We can say that.
Yes. And it might also, until it's trained to the right point, it might interrupt in the natural ability of the water to continue with its adaptation, to find a way naturally. Thinking could abort that way, because it's this technique. But if you are aware, any tiny tension, which if I also used to do Qigong a lot, and one particular dive that brought so much clarity was I was in that same fall and aware my body is equalizing. already at that point I had stopped thinking to equalize. I let it be. But at a certain point you're on that edge where something isn't working, and I was aware of just a little bit of tension here maybe, or in my sternum, like a feather touch, and that was it. I couldn't equalize anymore.
I see. So and I will go now to a bit of training. So in a way, you train people, or you train the nervous system not to act upon the person when he dives. Is that's correct?
Ideally.
No, not really. On the contrary, we have a different thing. Who's the teacher here for us?
Yeah, I like that.
Is it
Aharon.
Joe Soak here, who's a teacher because he's been qualified by some school of freediving,
Yeah,
invented by people who've never seen the sea in their lives, apparently?
yeah.
The
Politicians.
The teacher for us is the water.
The water.
Look, when a child goes up the hill, a steep hill in a car, it's going up steep incline and its ears pop.
Mm-hmm.
A child, 3 months old, you can't explain to it the technique of equalization.
Yeah.
Its ears pop in relation to an optimum degree of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a maximum degree, an optimum degree.
Yeah.
And it happens automatically. And we have to get the ego out of the way so we can listen to the water, and then we can observe what's happening.
Okay.
And very often what's stopping us is for our benefit, because we have a little dialogue here between the conscious,
Yeah.
which is ego, and the unconscious or subconscious, which is where we want to be.
When you say subconscious, I will say more natural. We want to be natural. We can say
want to
that.
be natural in the subconscious, listening. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is, of course, your highest form of cognitive thinking. The orbiter-medial, which is the other side, is your emotional intelligence, your reactive intelligence, not analytical.
I see.
Yeah, reactive and observing and reactive.
How can you teach people to listen to that part in them?
Go down.
Mm-hmm.
When you go down on empty lungs, we empty all the air out of your chest.
Wait. Okay, so I'm just for our audience, and we have two kumbhakas in yoga. I'm just going back to yoga. We have kumbhaka, or stopping of the breath, after inhalation and after exhalation. Usually when we teach them after inhalation because it's easier.
Yeah.
Because after inhalation you feel full, and it's easier in your emotional world to be full than empty, because emptiness is more like death. It's closer to death because there is nothing to hold on to in a way. So you're saying now that you are diving in a way with no air. You're stopping the breath with no air inside.
We exhale everything totally. I mean, we go...
and then you dive.
Yes.
Like that?
Kind of.
And then dive.
Yes. It's advanced. It's not
very
for
advanced.
a beginner. It's not
when
for a
you do
beginner.
that, start panicking.
We're going down 18, 20 meters
With no air, in the lungs.
And what happens is, the first dives you do may be only 2 or 3 meters. You feel pressure.
Yeah.
And I say to you, if I'm teaching you, I say, listen to that. Do not push into it. Do not ask, that's your subconscious.
I see.
Do not ask it for an extra meter. Come back and repeat it again and again
So
and
you
again.
see the emotion rises. In a way, it's panicking. It's an
Yes.
emotion.
Yeah.
And you just let it be. You don't act upon it.
You don't act upon it, you just come back. And if you obey it and don't force your subconscious through ego, let's see if I can do another meter. Yeah. It will begin to trust you and say, aha, this guy's not a maniac.
Yeah.
We can trust him to go forward a bit more without hurting himself.
So I would go now to say, so this freediving has no goal in it. It's just the sake of diving.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's the
Beautiful.
best training.
I'm sure, because
Well,
this is
best.
no goal is
Yes.
something that I do for
Yes.
being in the moment means no goal.
Mm-hmm.
They say there's no goal in dancing. If you dance, there is no goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yes.
So when you dive, there's no
Yeah.
goal in diving. So
Right.
Yeah.
so when we have someone who wants to compete, that's a different story.
in
There's
terms.
contradiction to
Yeah.
the art itself.
Yes.
We can say
Exactly.
it's not art anymore.
Listen, what is pratyahara?
Mhm.
Sensory withdrawal. What happens when you go underwater without a mask on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
without a
yeah,
breathing
Yeah.
apparatus.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first thing is you don't see quite as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's blurred,
Mhm.
unless you're one of the Mokan children where you've adapted and see perfectly underwater. This is possible.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing that happens, you've got sensory withdrawal, feeling.
Yeah.
If you've ever washed dishes for as much as I have, being a beaten down man, you know, dominated by a strong female, so you wash dishes until the fingers begin to get crinkly skin on them. This is what happens underwater. Yeah? What about sound? Sound travels 4 times faster underwater. So normally your direction of sound
Yeah.
is the difference between this ear hearing and the other ear hearing the same sound. And the brain computes this and tells you, aha, the sound's coming from there. If you speed it up 4 times, it can't do that. You find yourself in a cathedral of sound underwater. When it's whale song or something like that, it is an unbelievably beautiful experience.
But the sensory deprivation or sensory, like the sensors are not working or working in a different way, produced instantly, I think, panic.
No, because panic is... You should never push towards panic.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying that the natural habitat has changed tremendously. So
Completely.
I think most people would say, I have no air. I
Right.
don't hear as I know. I don't see. I don't hear.
Yeah.
Also, probably the body feels differently under pressure. So I think the initial instinct will be panicking. So I think beginners will panic.
We don't teach it. It's not a beginner technique.
It's not a beginner.
So by the time we get to RV, residual volume, which is exhale training,
I
there
see.
are people who are probably already
60 meters.
around 50,
I see.
60.
So you did before that. You did some inhalation work.
Yes.
You have
Yes,
to.
yes.
No, I don't teach beginners.
You don't teach beginners, but
But
if you would have
yes.
to teach beginners, you will teach them. Let's
No,
say
the
kumbhaka
first
after
thing-
inhalation.
The first thing I do is teach them how to move in the water, because that gives tremendous confidence. Learn how to swim. And I teach them how to swim by sending them to a damn good swimming teacher,
I
not
see.
me. Yeah?
Yeah. So
Because
they
that's
fe-
an
they
art
fe-
in itself.
So they feel in the water now,
At home.
sensory at home. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And
so-
during swimming, they also learn how to manipulate their breath between strokes.
I see. So it's
Yeah.
in a way it's a form of a breathing exercise. We can say that
Exactly.
we start with,
Yeah.
and then I'm just trying to map how the training is going, and then we have like inhalation diving and then
Yeah.
exhalation diving, which is like in yoga. It's the same. You train first. You
Yeah.
train a very simple breathing technique
Yes.
Yeah.
with no stopping actually.
Yeah.
And then you teach them to stop after inhalation and then stop after exhalation.
Yeah.
It's the same
Mhm.
kind of
Yes.
Right.
way to do
Yeah,
it.
And if you
development.
don't
Yeah.
have goals and if you don't have time limits, I have to get to 15 meters in 2 days.
Like the series in
Like the
Ashtanga Yoga,
education
it's the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with
Yeah.
with yoga.
And we have the same thing about equalizing your ears.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't relax, you can't equalize. If you can't equalize, you can't relax. You have to be able to undo this conundrum.
I see.
And that's again like solving some of the conundrums that are in yoga.
And,
So,
and how it translate? Yes, please.
so part of that training, let's say, although Aharon doesn't train beginners, but I have been more involved with beginner training and watching the development,
Yeah.
even the psychology of what depth and pressure, even if
Does.
it's 5-10 meters, causes in a person. All our training really is to awaken the mammalian dive reflex, which is is your heartbeat going to go down? Bradycardia, because of the pressure and certain systems in the body, translate that into lower heartbeat, vasoperipheral constriction. So certain things are happening. But the MDR, the mammalian dive reflex, in a beginner isn't sharp. And our memory from the aquatic ape age is not there. So it's beginning to...
Sorry to stop you.
Yes.
So we have this MDR in all human beings. You have this kind of reflex.
Yes.
And you went back now
Yes.
to the time that we were swimmers, we can say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we all have it, and we have to awaken this ability.
Yeah.
So it's about being
awakens.
sensitive?
Yes.
Very much so.
And if
Okay.
we have parasympathetic
Yeah.
and sympathetic,
Yeah.
a lot of people enter the water, hey, where we're going diving. The sympathetic is on alert. They're going to
Yeah.
hold their breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got to equalize. We've got to
Yeah.
force
Yeah.
it. And you
Yeah.
can see
Stress.
people
Stressful.
stressing. The MDR does not respond as effectively as it should. The moment we stress, it dies away. You push it away. So the only answer is you learn to move from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Flow, not force.
So you know how to move yourself between those?
Yes, because it's a question of how deep you go and before a shutdown. If you tense an arm, a neck, a diaphragmic push, you could basically terminate the dive because you've entered wanting and desiring too much of that dive when your mammalian dive reflex
Is
isn't
not ready for it.
I see.
So you would not do an advanced exercise. You could not do it without a lot of preparation. I think
And
Buddhist
what the preparation will be?
dive and dive again and feel. So the progression with a full lung, with the ability to equalize, which could be a technique or to show what not to do to allow the body to find its way.
Interesting.
So then as you relax, the ocean's embrace opens to you. I always feel like you're entering a territory respectfully. So part of my philosophy of entering the water is like a shamanic tradition. You ask the water
For permission.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think this is forgotten. It's
Yeah.
what we were talking about yesterday.
We talked about it before.
Yeah,
It's about
we were.
respect
Yes.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So respect is honoring, let's say, honoring the ocean.
The life force, the
teacher.
consciousness,
The great teacher.
Yeah.
of
The
all
great
this.
teacher
Yeah.
is the water.
the
Is the
consciousness.
water.
The
For
consciousness.
me, it's like consciousness.
Yeah,
Moving into
I understand
consciousness.
that. Yeah, definitely. So in a way, when you teach beginner, you teach them how to be sensitive to what happens to them while they dive.
Yes.
And then when they become sensitive, they become intelligent. We can say that.
Okay, look, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Forgive me here for interrupting. My biggest lesson and my teacher of how to teach was a lady in Eilat who taught kids less than 3 months old, from 3 months old onwards,
Yeah,
how to swim underwater.
I see.
Her name was Michal Sachs. You probably even met her, maybe. And how did she teach? This is very interesting. You got young ladies in there with their first child. They'd heard that swimming underwater for a kid was both fun and was the greatest educator you could possibly have. Because suddenly, instead of being dominated by Newton, where if you made the wrong movement, as you do on land, you got smacked into the floor by something horrible called gravity.
Yeah,
You could move in 3 dimensions without resistance, without being smacked for it. And the child's first brain to develop is, if you like it, the sensory brain, the medulla oblongata and pons, which are the controllers of all your autonomic functions. And that's where a child begins to develop its brain, and when you're suddenly doing it in 3 dimensions, it blossoms. Okay, here's a young lady with her first child. She buys the thing that it's incredibly beneficial for the kid, but she is terrified. She's probably not a swimmer herself. We've got water that's sort of chest deep, body temperature, so it's a very nice temperature, same as a kid probably would have experienced in the womb.
yeah.
Yeah. So what Michal does, she doesn't give lessons and instructions and analysis. She just says, hold the child close to your chest here, yeah, and we're going to sing a little song. And the moment she starts singing the little song, the mother begins to relax. She's been petrified before that, because I might kill my kid, yeah. So the mother begins to relax. The child picks up the heartbeat of the mother and everything, and begins to understand. The mother's relaxing. Can't be any danger.
Relax.
I relax.
How do you translate that for a student of yours? Oh, sorry.
So the next thing that she did, which is very smart, they give a little kinesthetic signal. Lift the child up a little bit like that. That means something's going to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
Then she splashes water on the child's face, and the child goes and holds his breath. It's a natural reaction.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's wakening up a natural reaction.
Natural system in the body.
And then it passes to the next lesson, which is singing the little song, giving the little signal, and dipping the kid's face in the water. Well, and then dipping and holding it. And after a certain length of time, the child begins to see the little plastic-colored toys on the bottom of the pool, and says, "Mum, let me get out, Mum. I want to get down there and get the plastic toys."
Yeah.
You may have to help him swim a bit, because his body hasn't learned how to deal with water and
resistance
movement in a liquid. But you know what? In a very short time, they're manipulating incredibly well underwater by themselves. And who has taught them? The water.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And that's our way of teaching.
And I know that you are training people to go really deep.
Yeah.
That's your specialty.
Yeah.
So what is the approach in psychologically, or compared to that baby, if you have a diver, and I'm sure the barrier will be a lot of fear.
No, because by the time they come to us, fear is not a thing, because fear is a thing when you know you're going outside the limits and the body is telling you that, be careful.
Mm-hmm.
But if we work inside the limits, inside the area of confidence, then there is
miracle
no
can happen
fear.
from that point.
Just progress
gradually.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the progression is safe, we can say. The progression
may be very slow and very incremental.
There is a will to that? They have a will to go deeper?
Yeah, most people, I mean, if you're going for diving, the water draws you down.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking on the surface in Eilat on a day, and you can see the water crystal clear, and it's like the fish are floating in the air. Yeah, and you want to be down there. I did as a kid. And you get pulled by the water.
But also, if I can interrupt, the question of fear is that at a certain point for a deep freediver, you overcome the fear and you realize that it's a question of understanding that you are capable of going deeper, because the fear goes away. So then the ego sticks its head up.
Of course.
Says, I can go and I can push harder and I can train harder in the gym, and I can. So there is where certain philosophies are now dividing the future of freediving, and we gave a talk yesterday. Is it going down that road of fearlessness and me in the water, perhaps even forgetting the water is even the medium
you don't give respect anymore.
Yes.
You don't give respect.
Yes.
You've done.
Yeah. Or the way we're trying is you still go with respect, and if it's possible to drop the ego, although the desire to delve into consciousness for a yogi, there might be a point where I turn the question on you, where a yogi might say, what about enlightenment? How do I achieve enlightenment?
There is no achievement. You cannot achieve enlightenment. Whatever, I can go now to yoga and they say, you are enlightened. Just pay attention.
Yep.
Yes.
Which means...
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, look, this is probably one of the most intelligent questions I've been asked, this question of fear. Let me give my little 2 cents worth on it. Look, fear is a natural reaction when you're getting close to a limit or going into the unknown. Now, if you embrace fear and you understand that it's there for your benefit, and obey the fear by saying, okay, I'm not going to push into this. I'm not trying to overcome the fear. I'm listening to the fear and listening to what it's telling me. Then the fear will retreat in front of you as you progress. If you try and take it on and try to push into a dive, what you're doing, in fact, is making an enemy of the dive. And therefore you're making an enemy of your teacher. Is that a wise decision? I think you and I both know it very much not.
Yes.
So if you push to the edge where the fear is actually talking to you, but you're not fighting the fear,
what comes to mind?
It will progress and allow you to progress at a rate
I like when you say it allows you.
Exactly.
Which means you have to surrender.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it allows you. So there is a bigger, something bigger than you in this thing. So the moment you go to competition,
exactly,
then it can go.
Ego gets
involved, and it's all done.
All goes out
so it's not an art anymore. Now it's a capitalistic dive, and you want to dive as deeper as you can and get the record and whatever you do.
Yeah, well, what we're saying right at the moment is that competition diving today has become a shit show. I mean, literally, people are coming up vomiting buckets of blood. They're coming up, they're blacking out because they're not making it to the surface. These are all the top people. And in the last 3 years, the records have not increased by more than 3 meters. So we're coming to the end of something in freediving.
The limits.
Where it was ruled by ego, and we cannot go further in that without seriously hurting ourselves.
Actually,
we're proposing a different type of diving, a different philosophy, a different attitude and way of looking at things.
So it can only resonate with the yoga of today, because today yoga, you want to reach asanas, you want to conquer. To conquer the asana, to reach somewhere, and eventually I call it like a Louis Vuitton, whatever I call it, because the moment you purchase something, it doesn't worth anything the moment you have it.
Exactly.
So in a way, if you have a record, it doesn't mean anything actually. It doesn't. Either if you like diving, that's the beauty of it. It's the love of the diving. It's not the record that stands in the end. But we are. Our society is a bit, we can say, sick. So it's the sickness of capitalism will go into all the system of the arts, actually. It's not something they can measure, really. What's a good dive? The depth of it? No, of course not. It's and it just reminds me something I wanted to say, that to be on record. Iyengar was saying, that pranayama you do with your ears. Which means you listen. So the moment you listen, you become sensitive, and then you can do pranayama. But if you're not listening, if you're pushing, then you cannot do it.
Exactly.
The
parallel is absolutely.
So you are like aliens in your field.
I think so.
I can say that. If you are not interested, in a way, teaching people to go deep, you're teaching them how to dive, which will be different. Then it's not very popular.
Well, let me just do a tiny correction. We're not teaching them anything.
I see.
We are facilitators.
Beautiful,
They're helping the water teach, and the water will teach them to go deeper. They'll be pulled by it out of curiosity, like any animal.
Because you can. Because when you open it to a certain point of that listening and sensitivity, suddenly your
the door
body,
opens.
You
to
actually
a new
can.
world.
And you go that little bit further. And so
aren't you going to go through that door? Yes, you are. But only when you're ready and you're in line with the water.
Yeah, so the water allows you to go into the door. It's not you going into the door. She invites you in a way. Yeah, I can say that. If we talk about a mother, which is the ocean, we can say. Yeah. So let's a bit continue what you think. I ask for both of you. What it did to your life?
What?
What does it do to your life when you teach this, when you service this, or when you do that? How it benefit is not a good word, but how it influence your life, being a free diving teacher and a free diver. What pops to your mind when I ask you?
You get this weird sensation that actually, when you're going to the water, you're going home.
You're going home.
Yeah.
Ah, I love that.
And we lived in Baja for a long time together. We saw sights there underwater that you can't believe. You cannot even recount them to the man in the street because they wouldn't believe them. We saw all deep diving whales and our pinnipeds, our seals and sea lions and everything else. And we played with some when they choose on their territory. And if it's dolphins or sea lions or whatever the hell, you know. And it's just a staggeringly beautiful world. You're invited into a garden of such riches, you can't even begin to imagine it.
It sounds like you're saying, in a way, if I can translate this, it's a connection to nature and to life, in a way.
Exactly.
And that makes as a memory, of course, you like these memories and it brings you back. But in a way, I'm just trying to be very yogic here, of the actual dive itself.
Yeah.
If you come out of the water, what you can say of people who are divers, what qualities they have?
I can tell you what quality diver I'm talking about when I see how they come out of the water. When I see this machine, Maria Teresa, come out of the water, she's 60 years old. Last year she came for a very brief period of training from Mexico and hit 74 meters. That's a hell of a depth for somebody.
It's a hell of a depth. I haven't.
Yeah. That's a very respectable thing. This year she's going far further because we're playing with liquid equalization, flooding the sinuses and the middle ear with water, which means we're permitting the sea to come inside and also to teach us from the inside out as opposed to the outside in.
This technique is very interesting. I just want to explain what Maria Teresa is doing, what Aharon is explaining, is putting water into your nose and flooding up your sinuses with seawater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like a netty, a permanently held
permanent netty, yeah.
Yes.
The water doesn't go out.
Well,
it's just when you come out.
Yes.
I was training with a world champion who very kindly took me under his wing at one time at the beginning of my career, called Pipin Ferreras, who I think has been neglected by the freedive community. I think he has maybe the greatest inheritance of all the teachers I've known. He's given to us, and we're ignoring it. Look, he invited me to Cuba to train with him.
He's Cuban.
He's Cuban.
That's why he's neglected.
And he left Cuba, okay, at the time. But I was in his house in Havana, and he had just gotten a book by Jacques Mayol called Homo Delphinus. In it tells the story of a Greek sponge diver who rescued the anchor of the Regina Margherita, an Italian battleship, in 1913. He was diving then, to depths of more than 100 meters. He eventually found the anchor at 88 meters and attached a cable onto it to rescue the thing at 77 meters. Okay. It's a whole story. You can read it on Wikipedia or the internet or whatever you like. It's a most inspiring story. And then he was examined by the Italian Navy because they couldn't believe this. Somebody at that depth. Don't forget, 1953, they were telling Enzo Maiorca, you cannot go to 50 meters because your lungs will implode. Yeah? They didn't know about blood shift. They didn't know about all the reflexes that we're born with. But the Greek sponge divers knew it very well by that time. Now, what happened there was they had a thing. When Uncle was on the ship diving for sponges and he was disabled by a shark, maybe permanently, nephew, who hadn't done anything but sort of clean toilets on the ship till then, suddenly became a diver. They stood him on deck, they put the stone in his hand that was attached to a rope that was attached to the ship, and they said, jump in, whatever you do, don't let go of the rope. He would come out with blood pouring down his side of his neck and crying. And they said, welcome, you are Ditis now, you're a diver. What he'd done was burst his eardrums. And by continually diving after that, you kept the eardrums open. So you flooded the sinuses and middle ear. Now, both of us read about this. Pippin was entranced by it in the same way I was. Yeah, we shared the book. And Pippin, before we parted, said, Aharon, I think I'm going to get laser holes put in my ears. And I thought, no, I don't like that too much. I don't know what it would do to my hearing, which is appalling now, but nothing to do with that. So I decided to try experiments a different way. I took Jalanetti, did it on my back with my head hanging over the edge of the bed with a basin underneath to catch the water, and flooded my sinuses.
You take your head backwards, which is not allowed in Eti. Yeah,
no.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So I was naughty.
Yeah,
but it all came
experimental. I would say that's an artist world to experiment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what it was, and I began with that, and then gradually, we've taught ourselves the two types. People don't know these things. The two types of hands-free equalization. One is manipulating everything by your vocal cords.
I see.
And the other is by manipulating your soft palate, the levator muscles and everything that opens. The soft palate thing is actually a pump that not only the muscles open the eustachian tubes, but they pump water down them. So I started to develop it from that. And we, I think, are the first people in the world who successfully dive head down as opposed to head up. We are going feet first. Yeah. Head down, as every free diver does. Yeah. And floods.
So now it's a common thing? People do it?
No. There are two people in the world doing this. And they're both sitting here in front of you.
I see.
Yeah.
And people not taking it? If you try to teach it to other people and they...
No, we're going ahead because what we're going to do is she's going to blast every bloody record of her age.
This is a man with the dichotomy of competition.
No, okay.
No. I think we are eventually, when we talk, we are human, which means we have to hold both things in our hands.
Yeah, because it's exciting.
Like, it is exciting, and it is like experimenting.
Yeah, it is.
Discovery of new horizon.
Yeah.
That means you have to have some kind of motivation.
Yes.
And that's, I
our
think
motivation is, I think the direction today is shit. Drugs have come into freediving, which never happened in my day.
Interesting.
Yeah, big time in the last 2 years, 18 months.
Okay, money came and corrupted everything. That's in
money
few
corrupts
words.
everything and all the rest of it. So we're just trying to use competition to show, if you want to do competition, guys,
like natural way, like the diving way, not the technology.
Way.
Yeah.
It's not technology. It's the technology of the body, we can say.
Because people are forcing to the point now of injury. So to go any further, some people are saying we've done so amazing dives and it takes everything we have to get this far, and so there's an injury. It's a natural process, and we're saying actually let's turn it on its head and say the softer you are, what if we open a door that takes you even deeper?
I want to take what you said, and you don't have much time, so I just want to You just mentioned something that I really like in my practice in yoga or many things I teach is about softness. If you guys can talk a little bit about what does it mean today to teach softness will get you anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, softness, let me jump, because I started, this curiosity for flooding really grabbed me after a certain time training RV, residual volume, which you might think, oh my God, that's so much pressure and resistance. But we begin with advanced divers who are able to feel where resistance begins and where they can let go. So you don't push into it. It's a little bit like push hands.
You allow the pressure to be.
Yeah,
in a
but
way.
yes, it comes, you're aware, you stop and respect it, you don't push into it. So that silence, which is almost like the space between the breath, the space where the mind is no longer moving so much, you're in this point of awareness that you become still. And then if at that moment I take off the nose clip, you don't just allow the water to come in. There is a maneuver, the better ver, to allow the water to actually be pumped a little bit more strongly but softly into the eustachian. It doesn't happen naturally. So I experimented by take off the nose clip, go down and let the water in. No, that didn't work. There were air spaces left, and then you can't go any further. There's a pressure buildup. So there are moments where you actually stop, lift, and eventually maybe that whole process will happen more naturally without so much control like driving a car.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of softness in the practice of RV training before jumping into take off the nose clip and do the whole practice without the interim of that quiet space in 5 meters or 8 or 10 or eventually 15, where now I'm on RV.
Actually doing it in 21, but I mean...
What, taking off the nose? I tried various depths of where to let the water in. And in the end, the closer to the surface. But you have to be fearless in a way.
Yeah.
Accepting. Yeah. Because the body is taking in something it doesn't want to be there normally.
Yeah.
So the body
new
itself
sensations,
will fight it. Yeah. And so you've got to allow and override without fear and say, it's safe. I'm in a safe place. And that takes silence. That doesn't take depth. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, it's shallow depth. So the softness, I feel, was really introduced with the idea of RV training.
So listen, I just want to say things about my two fellow travelers in this room. I have nothing except incredible admiration, which has continued for the last 20, 30 years with the woman who's sitting here, who I've known her courage, her dedication, and her intelligence. And the person who's sitting in front of me
Who is that?
Is the only yoga instructor I know today where we would have this conversation. Because I have the utmost respect from you. I happen to know where you come from, where you've been, who you've studied with. And you've studied with great humility with all the greatest yogis of the last 50 years. And I have nothing but respect for you, which I have always had.
Thank you, Aharon. I feel the same as your both lives as me I was 23, you were 58. I'm 53 now. It's almost like the same age I met you. Yeah. And I think when I was finished the army, and I was very, very in my head, very very limited.
Yeah.
And when I saw you guys, I'm like, what's happening here? There are no limits. It's like seeing artists, and artist has no. You didn't think, I think, in your life, also both of you, about making money. You didn't care about the money. You care about diving, which for me was like, it doesn't. Artist, it's an inspiration in many fields. Okay, so freediving, yoga, for me is the same. You guys are yogis in my eyes. I'm not a yogi, yogis. Yogis is a big word, but in a way, doing what you do all the way, which means what you did, the sacrifice you made. The sacrifices. I'm sure we can open it up. I'm sure there are many sacrifices. That's an inspiration. And I hope, I'm just finishing up maybe, that seeing you when you're 86 years old and you're 61 and you're still diving and you're still teaching, that if you do something that you're still diving, for sure. I hope it's going to be inspiration for all the new generation, that it takes years to develop. and years of experimenting and years of dedication of something that you like to do, and not just buying it. You have to walk the talk. You have to do it for many years, and then you have freedom. I sense here today there is freedom in the way you speak about freediving. That is your original thinking. Yeah. There is no borrowed thing here. There is no something I bought. It's something I acquire by liking, by dedication, discipline, I would say. And I maybe end up with this, maybe too much talking, but David Bowie says, discipline is not to wake up at 5 a.m. Discipline is to like something and to do it all the way.
Wow.
That's discipline. And I think that's beautiful about what you guys bring to the world of freediving and to the world of yoga, I would say also, because it's very, I think it's the same worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we, I think, have many views, opinions, ideas in line with each other.
Yeah.
I think we always have had.
Yeah, we did.
I would say that after many years, 30 years of freediving and exploring, and even more with, I did martial arts and Qigong in the very beginning through yoga, and now it's coming back. But something that this practice has given me, and maybe talking with Aharon, we're yin yang, and maybe I'm a little bit more woo-woo than him, but it's also a feeling of light and water. And H2O, which is water, has 2 hydrogen particles and then oxygen. And our bodies are full of a structured water called H3O2, which is 3 hydrogen, it's plasma. And all our cells have photons of light. And this lightness is matched in the water. So maybe it is a call home. And the excitement is with the water right next to my pineal gland. I'm thinking, I don't need to look for a whale, chase the whale, do all the tourism, bringing people to the water that aren't really prepared, although that's a judgment. So maybe that's too big a judgment. For me, I've stopped searching for the outside movement, because knowing that the vibration of everything that ever happened in this universe, in the water, oceans, wherever it's come from, is the sound of a whale song, or is the sound of a hunt, or is the sound of something in that water column which is still there as a memory. And our ancestral memories are waking up, and being in the water is waking up and coming back into that light. So it's a connection with light and vibration and sound, our origin. So that's in a way my motivation. Yeah,
and we can say this is a motivation is not even the word, because it's not a motivation, it's something that you do without motivation. It's like you're drawn into it without achieving anything about it. And but I think eventually if I end up, you have to do it for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Aharon, you did it for many, many years. 60 years. Wow. And then you become an artist. It's time, I would say. Experience and time. You cannot do bypass. You have to go through it for many years, and then you discover, I think, what you guys discover. You just, time did that. And the discipline. I think Picasso was saying, if God comes, I want to be in front of the canvas. So in diving, I think you prepare the ground to the meeting that is there all the time. But you have to prepare the ground. You have to do you have to do the work. In a sense, you have to be diving to know diving. But
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
And
maybe it's like a trip, like an ayahuasca trip. You're there, but there's no grounding, so you come out of it and say, "Well, what did you get out of that?"
Just a memory.
Yes.
Just a memory of it.
Yes.
It's not it yet.
Yes.
I agree. Thank you guys. The time is limited, because time is limited, but it's not limited if we go to the spiritual part of it. And thank you very much for coming to my podcast. It sounds. Thank you very much, Aharon. And very nice meeting you. We haven't met for a very long time, so it's
fun
like
for us to believe me. So
and we meet later.
With you again.
And
meet after all those years.
Yeah, it's the same. Feels the same to me. And namaste.
Namaste.
All right.
Namaste.